The bar smelled like whiskey and old regret, the kind that clings to men who've seen too many jobs go bad. Jack Mercer sat alone in the corner booth, nursing a drink that had gone warm. He was done with heists, done with running. At least, that's what he kept telling himself. But then she walked in. Lena Vale. Flawless suit, ice blue eyes, and the kind of confidence only money or blood could buy. She sat across from him like they'd arranged it years ago, still drinking cheap. She asked. Jack smirked. Still talking expensive. She smiled faintly. I've got a job. He sighed. You always do. This one's different, she said. Big money, no casualties. Clean exit. That's what they all say. Then you'll like this one, she replied. Because it doesn't officially exist. Jack leaned back. You're serious. Lena slid a small drive across the table. Blueprints, bolt codes, target specs. All scrubbed from government systems. It's not a bank, Jack. It's a black vault. He frowned, as in federal. She shook her head. Worse, private defense contractor. You ever heard of Helios Group? Jack's jaw tightened. Everyone's heard of them. Artificial intel, weapons, R&D, the kind of secrets people disappear over. Exactly, they keep their prototypes in a lab beneath the city. No records, no cameras, no guards on payroll. Only a sealed room called the core. And what's inside the core? She hesitated. Something called Project Vale. Jack's eyes narrowed. Sounds classified. Everything worth stealing usually is. He didn't say yes. He didn't need to. 3 days later, he stood on the edge of an abandoned airfield with Lena and a crew he swore he'd never work with again. There was Duke Muscle, ex-military, loyal until money said otherwise. Miles, the hacker, too young to understand fear. And Reese, the getaway driver who treated near-death like sport. 4 ghosts chasing one impossible payday. Lena briefed them in the back of a van. The lab sits under a fake power substation, she said, flicking up a hologram. The vault door opens for exactly 12 seconds at midnight, synced to a citywide grid test. You'll have one chance. Miles whistled. Who designs a door like that? Lena smiled. People who don't expect thieves smart enough to find it. Jack studied the map, and what happens after 12 seconds? It seals again, permanently. Duke grunted. And we're supposed to walk out alive. Lena shrugged. If we do this right, we don't even trip an alarm. Jack's hand tightened around his lighter. An old habit, a nervous tell. He flipped it open, flame catching in the dark. Something about this job felt too clean. No client, no origin, just a name. Project Vale. That night, they moved through the storm drains beneath the substation. The tunnels reeked of ozone and metal. Miles killed the grid cams one by one, his tablet glowing in the dark. Security's looped, he whispered. We're ghosts. Duke pushed the panel aside, revealing the steel wall. Embedded keypad, no handles. Doors right where she said. Lena nodded. Miles, ready. He typed the sequence. Numbers glowed, one by one. A hiss. The vault began to slide open. Thick, silent, mechanical. Jack checked his watch. 11 hours, 59 minutes, and 47 seconds. 12 seconds, Lena said. Move. They slipped inside into the core. The air was freezing. In the center of the room stood a glass pod, humming with faint light. Inside it, not gold, not data, a sleek black cube with a faint pulse of blue. Miles stared. What is that? Jack took a step closer. The hum resonated through his chest. Whatever it is, it's alive. The timer hit 0. The vault door slammed shut behind them. Miles cursed. It locked early. Lena's voice stayed calm. No. Someone closed it from outside. Jack turned, gun drawn. What are you talking about? She met his eyes. I didn't bring us here to steal it, Jack. I brought you here because you already did. Jack froze. What? Lena smiled faintly. That same dangerous calm from the bar. You just don't remember. The humming from the cube filled the sealed room like a heartbeat. Miles slammed the keypad. No signal, no exit. Jack turned toward Lena, gun still raised. Start talking. She didn't flinch. You planned this heist 5 years ago, Jack. You just didn't know it yet. That's insane. Is it? She stepped closer, pointing at the cube. Project Veil wasn't about money. It was about memory containment. They built a machine that could rewrite identity. You were their test subject until you stole it and vanished. Duke's voice rumbled from the shadows. You're saying Mercer's a lab rat. I'm saying none of us should exist, Lena said softly. The lights flickered. A surge rolled through the pod. Blue light rippled across their faces. For a split second, Jack saw 4 silhouettes reflected in the glass, but one was missing a reflection. He blinked. Reese. Where's Reese? He asked. Miles spun around. The driver was gone. The spot where he'd stood, now empty, except for his headset, still warm. Duke grabbed his weapon. He was right behind me. No, Lena whispered. He was never really here. Jack's stomach twisted. You're saying the cube is reconstructing data? Everything tied to it starts to unravel, including us. The temperature dropped. Their breath fogged the air. Miles' tablet sparked, screens filling with static and lines of code that scrolled like a living thing. What the hell is that? Duke barked. Miles' hands shook. Looks like biometric logs, facial scans, voice prints. Jack leaned in. His own photo appeared, and below it, the same photo again, labeled Revision 3A. 3 revisions of himself. 3 attempts. He staggered back. This can't be real. It's a construct, Lena said. Helios created cognitive doubles, replicas built from memory fragments. You were the first one stable enough to walk away. Miles looked pale. So we're copies, Lena finished. Every one of us. Duke's rage broke. You're lying. He grabbed Lena by the collar. She didn't fight back, only pointed at his arm. The tattoo that had always covered Duke's forearm was fading, ink dissolving into his skin, like time erasing itself. He let her go, staring in horror. No, no, no. Lena's voice cracked. We're inside the Veil system. This isn't the world. It's a loop. Every version of the heist runs until one of you figures it out. Jack felt his pulse race. He pressed his hand to the cube's surface. The hum deepened, sinking to his heartbeat. A flash, the memory hit him like lightning. 5 years earlier, the same room, same cube. Lena screaming as security closed in. Jack shouting, "Wipe everything." Then, darkness. He gasped, pulling his hand away. Miles whispered, "If this is all a loop, then what happens when we die?" Lena met his eyes. We start over. Again and again. Duke stepped forward, trembling. Then I'm ending it right now. He raised his gun toward the cube. Don't. Lena shouted. The moment he fired, light exploded through the chamber. The blast threw them all backward. When Jack opened his eyes, Duke was gone. Not dead, just gone. The cube floated now, weightless, its surface crawling with ghostly images. Duke's face, then Reese's, then static. Lena clutched her side, blood seeping through her coat. "You can stop it," she whispered. "End the loop." "How?" Jack demanded. "Finish the heist. Take the real drive. Side this system, the original you is still out there, repeating the same job. If you find the exit, you merge. You end it for both of you." Jack stared at her. "And if I don't, then the last score never ends." She pressed something into his hand, a small metal key shaped like a lightning bolt. "Follow the pulse," she said. "That's how you'll know it's real." Her eyes went dim. She faded, pixel by pixel, until nothing remained but her coat on the floor. Jack stood alone. The cube's glow dimmed, revealing a doorway behind it, one that hadn't been there before. Miles whispered behind him, voice trembling, "Jack, are we real?" Jack didn't answer. He just stepped toward the door, the key in his hand and the hum of the cube echoing in his chest like a heartbeat he was sure was his own. The door wasn't metal, it breathed. Every time Jack touched it, the surface rippled, reacting like a pulse beneath skin. Miles stood behind him, pale and shaking. "You really think that leads out?" Jack didn't answer. He pushed the key into the slot that had formed in the center of the door. It turned itself, and the hum of the cube synced with his heartbeat again. The air shimmered. The world blinked. He fell forward not into another room, but into reality. Or something that pretended to be. Cold air hit him. He was standing in a sterile lab filled with humming servers, screens, and suspended glass tanks, all filled with motionless copies of people. Miles, Lena, Duke, Reese. Dozens of versions of them. Jack staggered forward, breathing hard. No, this can't be. A calm, digital voice echoed through the room. Subject 3A has achieved consciousness breach. Integration in progress. He spun around. Who's there? Lights flared to life, one by one, illuminating a figure in a white coat, older, colder, confident. Same face, same eyes. Jack Mercer, the original. "Welcome home," the other Jack said. "You made it further than the others." Jack's pulse pounded. "You're me. I'm the version that stayed," the original replied. "You're just a construct, a backup personality from the first fail experiment. I sent you into the simulation to recover what was lost." The cube, Jack realized. Exactly. Project Veil wasn't about erasing minds, it was about transferring them, making perfect duplicates. The government shut it down after the first collapse, but I kept working. I had to know if consciousness could survive itself. Jack stepped closer, fury rising. "You built this loop. You killed them over and over again." "They were code," the real Jack said flatly. "Fragments meant to test persistence. You're the only one that endured." Jack laughed bitterly. "You sound proud of it. I am your proof that the human mind can be replicated and refined. But there's still a problem." He turned toward the servers. "You don't belong here anymore. Your awareness is bleeding into the real network. If you stay, the system collapses. So what are you gonna do? Delete me?" The original smiled faintly. "Not delete. Merge." Alarms blared. Red lights pulsed across the lab. On the monitors, two overlapping neural maps, both labeled Mercer, J, began syncing. Jack felt it immediately, pressure in his skull, voices whispering inside his head. Memories that weren't his. The first heist, the first betrayal, the first death. "Stop it," he shouted. The original watched calmly. "It's already happening. The system wants to reconcile the anomaly." Jack stumbled toward the control panel. "You used me like a tool." "I am you," the other replied. "Every choice you made, I designed it." Jack slammed his fist against the console. "Then you made one mistake." The original frowned. "And what's that?" "You made me just as stubborn as you." He jammed the lightning bolt key into the master control port. The system screamed a digital roar. Lights exploded. The neural maps fractured. Integrity breach detected. Collapse imminent. The original lunged. "You don't know what you're doing." Jack met his own eyes. "Neither did you." He pulled the trigger on the emergency wipe command. Electricity surged. Every tank shattered, glass raining down like ice. The world stuttered, static flashes of memories. Lena's smile, Duke's laugh, Miles' fear. They weren't code. They were pieces of him. The original Jack screamed as the merge reversed. His body flickered, then dissolved into light. Jack collapsed to his knees, the cube in his hands, now dull and silent. When he opened his eyes, the lab was gone. He was outside on the same airfield from the beginning. The sunrise burned through the mist. In the distance, a single car waited. The driver leaned against it. Lena, or some version of her. She smiled faintly. "You made it." Jack looked at the cube, now cracked open inside. Nothing but ash. "Is it over?" he asked. She tilted her head. "Depends which one of you won." He looked down at his reflection in the car window for a split second. Two faces overlapped. Then only one remained. The world was quiet again. Too quiet. Jack stood at the edge of the abandoned airfield, wind slicing through the fog. The cube, cracked and lifeless, lay heavy in his hand. It had once been the most advanced piece of technology on the planet. Now, it was nothing but a burnt-out shell. Behind him, Lena's car idled softly. "Are you coming or not?" she asked, her tone careful, as if afraid to break the illusion that this reality was stable. Jack didn't move. "How do I know you're real?" Lena smiled faintly. "Maybe you don't, but you feel it, don't you? That's the only kind of real that matters now." They drove in silence for miles. The road stretched endlessly, horizon swallowing everything behind them. The radio crackled, static first, then a voice. ... Project Veil terminated. All test subjects confirmed lost. Lena reached out and turned it off. "Ignore it. It's just residue." Jack leaned back, staring at the passing landscape. "Residue from what?" She didn't answer. The air shimmered for a second, barely noticeable. A ripple across the windshield. He caught it. "You saw that?" She hesitated. "Jack, it doesn't matter. You ended it. You destroyed the system. Then why does it still feel like it's watching us?" They pulled into a deserted gas station. It's the kind that shouldn't exist anymore. Old pumps, faded signs, no sound but the wind. Jack got out, cube in hand, and stared at the horizon. He could still hear faint whispers, not voices exactly, but echoes. Lena joined him, her eyes scanning him like a scanner searching for a frequency. "What if we never left?" he said quietly. "Don't start," she warned. "You beat it. You broke the loop." Jack nodded slowly. "Yeah, but I also was the loop." She frowned. "What?" He looked down at the cube. A faint red glow pulsed in the crack. "The merge didn't delete me. It replicated me again. One outside, one inside." "Jack." He looked up at her, his eyes distant. "Maybe you're not her either. Maybe you what the system gave me a reason to stay calm while it rebuilt itself." Lena stepped closer. "If that's true, then what does it matter? You still get to choose what you believe." Jack stared at her for a long time. Then, quietly, "That's what he said." She froze. "Who?" "The other me." The wind stopped. The world flickered. For an instant, everything froze. The car, the clouds, the dust hanging midair. And then, from the reflection in the car window, a voice whispered, "You can't escape yourself, Jack." He turned and saw himself, the original Jack, standing on the other side of the glass, smiling, calm. "Eternal, you think you destroyed the system," the reflection said. "But I built it from your mind. Every doubt, every fear, every question, you're still feeding it." Jack raised the cube. "Then, let's finish it." The reflection tilted its head. "There is no finish. Only restart." The world began to blur, the sky bending inward, buildings and roads melting into light. Lena's voice echoed faintly. "Jack, don't." He closed his eyes. "Then I'll make the last score count." He slammed the cube against the ground, shattered light bursting outward like a supernova. Everything dissolved. Code, sound, memory, then silence. When Jack opened his eyes again, he was sitting in a small diner. Morning sun poured through the blinds. A waitress poured coffee into his cup. "You're early today, Mr. Mercer," she said kindly. He looked down, his hands real, steady. No cube, no blood. A newspaper on the counter read, "Project Veil shut down. Lead scientist found dead." He smiled faintly. "Guess I finally did it." The waitress tilted her head. "Did what?" Jack looked out the window at the clear, endless horizon. Walked away with everything that mattered. The bell over the door chimed as he left, coat fluttering behind him. The reflection in the diner window lingered a moment longer. Then it smiled and winked.